Hello everybody, today's day 49 of reading booklets in my life. My name is Tian and this is my older brother Chung if you haven't heard us so far. And we're going to do rock, paper, scissors for who does it first, and then we're just going to go on from there. And rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Paper, scissors, shoot. Get turn.
Holt's strategy sounded good to the idealistic young people around him. Like me, he simply replied to all charges with...
Where did you read it from?
Yeah.
Yeah, reading it.
Because wasn't we up to that?
No, we weren't. He simply replied to all charges with a statement that he was completely independent, that he wouldn't respond to unsubstantiated attack. Unsubstantiated attacks or attack his opponents in return, and that he wanted to win on his own merits, or not at all. I finally learned that phrases like "or not at all" are often used by candidates who forget that politics is a contact sport. The strategy can work when the public mood is secure and hopeful, and when the candidate has a platform of serious, specific policy proposals. But in the summer of 1966, the mood was mixed at best, and the Holt platform was too general to inspire much intense feeling. Besides, those who most wanted a candidate who simply embodied opposition to segregation could vote for Brooks-Hayes.
Despite the attacks on him, most people thought Frank Holt would lead the ticket, but without a majority. And then would win the runoff 2 weeks later. On July 26th, the people spoke with... I know. Spoke... But stop reading the book. Spoke more... Spoke more than 420,000 of them. The results surprised the pundits. Pundits. Johnson led with 25% of the vote. Holt was second with 23%. Hayes was third with 15%. Alford. See, Alford got 13%, and the other three split the rest.
We were shocked, but not without hope. Judge Holt and Brooks-Hayes had gotten slightly more votes between them than the segregationist combo of Johnson and Alford. Also, in one of the more interesting legislative races, a long-serving old guardhouse member, Paul Van Dalzen, was defeated by a young, progressive, Yale-educated lawyer, Herb Rule. A couple of years earlier, Van Dalzen had infuriated supporters of the rising women's movement by saying that women should be kept at home, barefoot and pregnant. That got Herb, later Hillary's partner at the Rose Law Firm, an army of female volunteers, who dubbed themselves Barefoot Women for Rule.
The outcomes of the runoff election was very much up in the air, because runoffs are about voter turnout about which candidate will do a better job of getting his own votes.
Voters.
Can you let me correct? Voters. Back to the polls and a better job of persuading those who didn't vote.
For those who voted, not didn't.
Well, can I correct myself?
You're not correcting yourself.
I
Just keep reading.
For those who voted for candidates who were eliminated.
Eliminated.
That's what I said.
You said it.
Don't
Eliminated. No, it's eliminated.
Eliminated.
Not eliminated. It's
I said eliminated.
there you go. That's how you say it.
All people
Yeah, it's easy.
who didn't vote
Where's it?
the first time to support him. Judge Holt tried hard to
Yeah.
wait,
So they can stop. Try one.
tried hard
Don't do it.
to make the one-off
Here.
a choice between Old South and the New
Lay down.
South
Open.
on TV to tell the voters
Do it.
that he stood with Daniel in the lion's den and with John and Baptist in
So
her
there's no and. It's just with John the Baptist.
with John the Baptist in Herald Herald's Court.
Herod's.
How's it
I'm sorry,
Herald's?
Herald.
Herod's Court. In the opposite godless integration, I think somewhere in that talk, Justice Jim even got a Paul got on Paul Weather's horse.
Though the whole strategy was smart, and Johnson was willing to fight it out, as old versus new, there were two problems with Holt's approach. First, the Old South voters were highly motivated to vote, and they were sure Johnson was their champion, while the New South voters weren't so sure about Holt. His refusal to really take the gloves off until late in the race reinforced their doubts and reduced their incentive to vote. Second, an undetermined number of Rockefeller's supporters wanted to vote for Johnson because they thought he'd be easier than Holt for their man to beat. And anyone, Republican or Democrat, could vote in the Democratic runoff as long as he or she hadn't voted in the Republican primary. Only 19,646 people had done that, since Rockefeller was unopposed. On runoff election day, only 5,000 fewer people voted in the first primary. Each candidate got twice as many votes as the first time, and Johnson won by 15,000 votes, 52 to 48%.
Try one more and teach you one more, okay? Thank you.
I'll think about the outcome. I'll think about the outcome. I had to come to care deeply about Judge Holt and his family, to believe he would have been a better governor than he was a candidate, and to dislike what Justice Jim stood for even more. The only brightest spot was
The only bright spot.
The only bright spot was wait, stop, no. Rockefeller.
Right. You got that one?
What
You got it?
Rockefeller,
Yes. Did I do?
who actually
Yes.
had a chance to win money as if it was
Just a chance to win. There's no money.
underneath.
Chance to win. He was a better organized candidate.
Oh, next line.
The zombie. The zombie different.
He was a better chance to. He was a better organized candidate the second time around. He spent money as if it was going out of style, even buying hundreds of bicycles for poor black kids.
Mm-hmm.
In the fall, he won with 54.5% of the vote. I was very proud of my state. I'd gone back to Georgetown by then and didn't watch the campaign unfold firsthand. But a lot of people commented that Johnson seemed less animated in the general election. Perhaps it was because his financial support was limited, but there was also a rumor that he might have gotten some encouragement from Rockefeller to cool it. I have no idea if that was true or not. Okay, after that one we stop.
Except for a brief interregnum in the Carter years, when I was President Carter's point man in Arkansas, and when he wanted a federal appointment for his son, Jim Johnson, remained way out there on the right, where he grew more and more hostile towards me. In the 1980s, like so many Southern conservatives, he became a Republican. He ran for the Supreme Court and lost. After that, he made his mischief in the background. When I ran for president, he planted ingenious stories directly and indirectly with anyone gullible enough to believe them, and got some spiraling takers among the so-called Eastern liberal media he loved to revile, especially for Whitewater tales.
Okay.
He's a canny old rascal. He must have had a great time conning them, and if the Republicans in Washington had succeeded in running me out of town, he'd have had a good claim to the last laugh.
You itchy?
That's going to be all for today.
And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good day, everybody.
Good night.
And we'll see you tomorrow.